What's up, Jamie?
Did you hear about this? This just popped up on New York Times. This guy claims he's like the last witness of the JFK assassination.
Yo!
He claims, I was just reading through it, he claims he's the one who found the bullet in the car.
Okay, so I'm sitting around minding my own business. I've got a few of the guys over to watch UFC 293 on the television, and we've got the JRE Fight Companion going on in the background. It's about 40 minutes in, and fucking Jamie out of nowhere pulls up this completely random New York Times article about the last surviving witness of the JFK assassination. And straight away, Bryan Callen starts stirring up Joe. He reckons he's not convinced about these conspiracies. He says he only believes in one conspiracy theory. And you can see Joe exercising as much self-control as he can, but it doesn't last very long, and he ends up going deep to prove why Callen's full of shit. It was pretty funny. So I'm going to take you through exactly how it went down, but first, a quick shout out to my ground level crew. We're almost at 10,000 subs, baby. Come on, let's go. If you haven't already subscribed, sort that shit out and get on board. We're the fastest growing rebellion on YouTube. And just a quick reminder that all the clips used in this video are protected by the Fair Use Doctrine, safeguarded by Title 17 of the United States Code. So back to Callen shit-stirring Rogan while we're trying to watch this fucking fight. It actually really bothered me because one of my favorite things in life, this is how sad my life is to watch UFC with JRE Fight Companion and just chill the fuck out after a week of grinding out sick videos for my ground level crew. And here we have Jamie, for some unknown reason, randomly bringing up the JFK assassination. I think they said they were talking about conspiracy theories or something over dinner. Maybe that's why. But anyway, Callen isn't convinced by all this conspiracy talk, so Bupper pipes up, God bless him, and calls out Callen for not getting on board the conspiracy bandwagon, and it just escalated from there.
Educate Brian on Lee Harvey Oswald.
Well, have you ever seen the video where the Secret Service gets pulled off?
No,
and he's like, what? And the car takes
that's
off.
not a
Because
real-
they were going down a different route.
That's not a real video, is it?
That's a real video.
It's a real video, Brian.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
what's
the Secret
really
Service was supposed to
crazy,
be with him the entire time, and
Yes.
they pulled away from him.
the
They went
Supreme
a different
Firm's
route.
weird because
Really?
all
It's pretty
his
fishy.
whole trip, he's surrounded like the Beatles.
Right.
And then at this one point in the plaza, there's nobody around. It's really creepy. And you're like, what is
And
going
he's
on?
in a convertible.
Yes.
So then after this, Callen starts questioning some of the details. At the opening of the podcast, when they were saying cheers and having a drink, Joe was already giving Callen shit for spouting CIA talking points. So they must have been discussing it at dinner, like I said. And so they all just shut him down. Joe starts shitting on him. And this is the beginning of what would end up being a long-ass conversation about conspiracy theories, while the rest of us are just trying to watch the fucking fight.
Didn't he say he wanted to go in a convertible? Wasn't it he who said he didn't want shield around him? I think Kennedy said.
I never heard that.
No.
I never heard that. You know what
because
they did?
pulled him
Look
off of
that up,
Chicago a
That's
week
some
before.
CIA talking point.
Yeah, that's what
guy's
class
trying to
did you
defend.
learn
I
that in?
heard he wanted to go into that
Hey,
convertible.
B, in that convertible, you know, as soon as assassination happened, they rushed that computer and wiped that convertible and wiped it down. So there's no evidence in the
there's
convertible.
so much stuff,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Is
There's
that not
so
weird
much
to you?
stuff.
They washed it all
Oliver
out.
Stone talking about it was interesting because he was talking about Curtis LeMay and all those guys, and it's not surprising that they would do
The
something
CIA,
like that.
deep mafia roots in Dallas.
So up until this point, it was just fun and games. Joe knew Callen was talking shit, like, just trying to be the odd one out like he always does. But then Callen said something that got Joe's attention, and Joe started to get serious.
No, the only conspiracy theory that does make some sense to me is
What?
Kennedy.
The only one ever?
Yeah. No,
What
there are
about
other ones.
Enron?
What about the
Enron wasn't
scandemic?
a
What
Enron
about
was a
Gulf of
conspiracy that-
Tonkin?
Enron was a conspiracy, and they did time
What
in jail.
about the Gulf
That
of
wasn't-
Tonkin?
Bay
What
of
about
Pigs?
Operation Northwoods?
Yeah, but I'm saying all
That's
of
the
those.
craziest one.
That's a crazy one.
Operation Northwoods was, but hold on.
Here we go. This is the
Hold on.
best.
Operation Northwoods
I don't know why Brian does
was the Joint Chiefs of Staff came up with a bunch of different suggestions for the president.
Brian, they signed
happens.
that. The Joint Chiefs of Staff signed off on Operation Northwoods, which means they were gung-ho to blow up a jetliner and blame it on Cuba. They were going to arm
100%.
Cuban friendlies and
war.
attack Guantanamo Bay.
so
They
hold on.
wanted to give us motivation to go to war with Cuba.
Meanwhile, there are some epic fights going on. I'm sitting there Googling fucking Operation Northwoods. My mates are all yelling at the TV. I'm sitting there trying to listen to Rogan. I mean, fuck my life. So anyway, basically, Operation Northwoods was a proposed plan by the US Department of Defense way back in the early 60s to stage false flag attacks and deception to justify military intervention against Cuba. So we're talking like faking terrorist attacks, hijacking planes, creating fake casualty lists, and all of that to blame on Cuba. So the US government had a reason, an excuse to invade Cuba during the Cold War. But the plan was never executed. President Kennedy rejected it. And we know about all of this because it was declassified back in the 90s. So Callen was way off. Like, this actually happened. It was a legit proposal by the Department of Defense, and he's basically trying to say it's not a conspiracy theory because it never actually happened. It was just a proposal. But then Joe lays it out for him, and I agree with Rogan here. This was a full-blown Cold War covert conspiracy by the deep state that the president rejected. But it's still true. It was still an official proposal, like, we're full of details, right? So Callen leans into it, and Joe isn't having it.
When the president says to his Joint Chiefs, when he says to his military brass, he says, come up with different scenarios of what we do with this problem. Everything is on the table. You get 1,000
including killing
suggestions.
American civilians.
You get
That's
1,000 suggestions.
Brian, that's a conspiracy.
And Kennedy said
Brian.
no.
Yeah.
It's not a conspiracy.
Brian,
no,
It
it's
is
not.
a conspiracy.
It is
It's not a
100% a
It is
conspiracy to
100%
lie
not.
to the American people through blowing up a jet. It is a plan to lie to the American people. They conspired to create a scenario that did not exist. They were going to blow up a jetliner. They were going to attack Cuban friendlies. They were going to kill Americans.
No, so
the public gets behind it.
So
God
again,
damn
so
it.
again,
Brian,
guys,
do you think-
that's not accurate?
Brian, do you think
What
they
it
just took
was-
those plans and threw them out? Oh, he doesn't like them. Let's just throw them out in the trash can?
What happens is the military comes to your civilian infrastructure, your president, the executive says, here are the suggestions. Kennedy said no, 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 and no.
So then Jamie's been cooking in the fucking background and pulls up some random ABC article, and Joe uses it and gets all G'd up. Callen realizes he's wrong and tries to laugh it off, but it's too late because Joe just went full steam ahead.
Okay, the Joint Chiefs of Staff document, the reason they were held so long is the Joint Chiefs never wanted these up because they were so embarrassing.
Exactly.
Yeah, because they fucking asked for it. The whole point of a democracy is to have leaders responding to the public will. And here, this is the complete reverse. The military trying to trick the American people into a war, Brian, that they want, but nobody else wants.
You got this on Putin.com, and I want you to
That's
go
on
to
ABC News, son. That's ABC
Putin.com,
News.
yeah.
That is the most mainstream of all news.
And so finally, after they calm down a bit, Joe fucking roasts Callen, calling him a defender of the deep state.
We find out about these things. Why?
You're the perfect
Why
guy
do
to do a show like this with Sam Tripoli, by the way.
I know. That's why
Because
people
you're
like
so bad at
Conspiracy Social
defending
Club, everybody.
the deep
Conspiracy
state.
Social Club. Yeah.
You're so bad at defending the deep state. You make everybody a Sam Tripoli fan. It's
No,
great.
no.
I love it.
No, I love it. No.
It's just so funny how Joe will drop everything, completely forget about the fight companion, just to prove a point to someone who disagrees with a conspiracy theory or whatever. It kind of reminded me of that time when he was drunk as fuck and went off on Steve Crowder for dissing weed, saying it was responsible for car accidents and all that shit. So Joe and Jamie started pulling up all these articles and studies. They even found an article from Crowder's website where one of his writers had claimed that people who get high are morons. So Joe basically verbally manhandled Crowder. And even though Joe was mostly out of line and probably went too far, Crowder's a fucking bitch, so he kind of deserved it in a way. It was almost like prepaid karma for Crowder threatening his pregnant wife recently. Watch it, watch it. You gotta love these plastic preachers, hey?
I love you, but Steven, your abuse is sick. Your abuse
Watch it.
is sick.
Watch it. Fucking watch it.
Anyway, so Joe gets riled up over the silliest shit, But it's pretty funny to watch. I wish he'd just do it on his normal podcast, not when we're all in fight mode. It was pretty chaotic for a bit, and it was hard to follow the fights on TV at the same time. They missed some pretty big hits because they were distracted, and I personally really enjoy Joe's UFC commentary, especially when he's just chilling in his studio. It's like more laid back and he speaks more loosely. But fuck knows why he still gets Callen and Bupper in for these podcasts. They seriously offer nothing. Half the time Rogan is correcting Bupper's shit takes, and you can tell Callen's just there to shit stir and fish for viral clips. Seriously, there's a massive line of ex-fighters and commentators who would be better suited for these fight companions. I don't know. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll pin the best comment as usual. I hope all you guys had a sick weekend. Shout out to the new champ. Strickland's an absolute beast. Crazy how he just shut down Adesanya like that. No one saw that coming. And that's what makes UFC so good, in my opinion. I could probably do a whole video on that. Anyway, make sure you hit the like button if you enjoyed today's video, and don't forget to become a subscriber so you can keep up to date with all my latest videos. I'll chat to you guys soon. I'll see you in the next one.
There are absolutely people who have lobbied, as we talked about how the prison guard union has lobbied to keep marijuana illegal. There's absolutely pharmaceutical companies have done the same thing. It was revealed in the WikiLeaks memos.
See, this is where I was saying,
it was,
don't
hold
care
on,
about
don't
this.
interrupt me, you fuck.